Good morning, quick sound check, and we'll roll, and there we go. Thank you very much. Okay, here's the situation. So they're pushing up a few points, not much. The concept is this. Are they gonna open the tape below the former high, which is a buck away, give or take, and just blow through it and keep going? Would they have gapped above it on some excuse of a piece of news to do it, which is easier for the market to do? So here's my concept. Until they prove that they're going to break out above the high from the other day, 429.62 is the exact place. 429.61 is the 50% of 618, sorry, retracement. Until they can prove it, I'm going to say it's a test up there, and I'm going to look for a pullback. And the exact numbers, why I didn't put them on this board, I don't know, but I'm going to. Just give me a moment. All right, that's better. Now we'll blow it up a little bit so you can see more clearly. Yeah, okay, that's not bad. Okay, so I'm saying until they break out above and close candles above the red line, then this is a test and it's ripe for a pullback. They start as a scalp with potential. That's basically the bottom line. It took me a long time to spit it out, but that's what it is. If they drop them, we'll worry about it if they drop them. 428 will be some initial support. 427.40 is a number under that. Okay, that's it. We'll see how they go. We'll see how they open them. We're patient. Alter ego stuff is we just wait for the market to do the thing we want. All right, until that happens, we're spectators and we're waiting and we're patient. And that's it. We got about a minute to post time. Very quiet from a stocks on the move perspective this morning. Have a handful going. Roblox, JD, and Campbell, CPB. We'll see what happens. Okay, and they're off.
Campbell's soup opened just above the first level or second level, and then it just crossed over it, below it, I should say.
And by the way, 428.50 was the pivot. I forgot to mention, but you see it green up there. We know what that means. Let's see. Okay, first level was off the table, 47.30, but it's important. So if they bounce, that's where they're headed, right? Notice how they already kind of ran a test of it. 47.30. Pretty interesting how that works, isn't it? Anybody in Campbell? Yeah, IWM's on a rip again. You're right. Good spot, Jeff J. Oh, wow, look at that. Nice pullback already. Interesting. Breakdown candle high area, 187. It's interesting. Doesn't mean they won't go up. It's just what's happening now. All right, so the spiders are pushing up into that zone. It's trader's choice. If you don't want to short in the floating market, don't take it. It doesn't have to be for everybody. If you're looking for a short, you want a short, you're comfortable with a short against the high, you could even short at the high, 428.88, and then you see the next two numbers, 429.26 and 61. 429.61 is the former high. As they push up, they should react back in the other direction from that zone. Okay?
Roblox is coming towards its level. Oh no, it bounced away, sorry.
They're in a showtime zone. They can go higher, but they're beginning at a showtime zone. Any trader that was willing to take 428.88, give or take, is willing to short it higher. If you're only willing to have one entry, one trick pony, one entry player, you have to wait for the higher price. Just remind ourselves of that every day. Oh, what do we have, a candidate? Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. It's only up 2% today, but here's the number. It's actually a little lower. Right there. Expedia Group, EXPE, 114.73, maybe up a spike of 115 is overhead resistance. Trader's choice. Actually, let me do this. That's the zone. That's the zone. Expedia. Okay, spider's trying to pull back a little bit. Some traders short the first number, the middle, and the high. Some traders were waiting for the second. Some traders have already taken profit. I can guarantee all those things are true. Some traders only shorted the midpoint. It's early, 6 minutes into the day. Let's see what the IWM's doing. Trying to stabilize, still up almost 1%, 0.8%, 0.9% on the day. That's pretty good. Transports are on par so far. Working towards the top end of the zone is not out of the ordinary. It's not anything wrong. Nothing, just because they pull back from the middle of the zone doesn't preclude them from going to the top of the zone. Some traders that took a scalp off, you want to put it back on up there, that's fine. You want to add up there, that's fine. Just spike it a little bit. These are just the numbers, right? We do what we want, whether it's in front or above. These are the numbers. They spike them, they come up short. Both those things are true. Remember, the whole thing is only wrong if they start closing candles above 429.61. That was the layout. So all they're doing is running a test of around the former highs. That's what's going on, big picture. Let them do their thing. Market's open 11 minutes. They're still futzing around down there. Yeah, they didn't get there. That's too bad. Anybody in Campbell? Okay. Yeah. So we have some traders in Campbell. Good. So they've already given it to you. They've already given you the base hit. Rest is trader's choice. Nice job. Yeah, IWM right back up. There's your test or attempt so far of the high. What I wrote in the notes is a test of the high is not a breakout. Closing candles above the high is a breakout, at least a signal of a breakout. Could be a fake breakout, but it's a signal of a breakout, so we take the market at face value. Running a test is running a test. It's wrong, meaning any short is wrong with candle closes above 429.62. It starts with a 5 and then a 10 and then a 15. It's about time. I just use candles as the easy way to explain it. It's time. It's the more time above, the more signals the market's giving you, it's just going to move higher. Be right back. Well, I'm watching it on the screen. So nice trade, folks. Staying above 429.26 is still obviously bullish, but getting back below, and they should fall a little bit. I mean, let's put it in perspective, folks. This area was less than $1. So this is not a big deal, right? Let's just put it in perspective. Let's look at a different chart just to put it in perspective. This is not a big deal, okay? This is the area, You get scared out of the trade until they start closing candles above here. I know most of you understand that. I just want to make sure that we're all aware of it. Look at a 5-minute chart. It looks like it's far away, but it's not. No, it's not what I said, Alan. I said closing candles above, it's about time. The longer they stay above, the more evidence builds that they're going to go to the next number. A minute doesn't matter. A couple of minutes doesn't matter. 5 minutes may or may not mean something. 10 minutes means something. 15 minutes means more. That kind of thing. Okay? Let's see, they bounced off that 429.25, 26 area. What's above 429.62? 430.30. Just so you know. Looking around the horn, see what else is going on. If anything else is moving around. We got these consumer staple stocks on the move. Campbell's bouncing, they're all bouncing anyway. Cloudflare. It's from the other day. Spike the low, go into a zone, rip it back up. See what else we got. I'm looking around. Another candidate. It's a little far away, but just write it down. Put it on your chart, something. Down here. I don't know if they get there, but there's nothing to do before that for me. Now, they officially ran a test of the high in the spiders, 62. So they probably want to poke their head above a little bit. That's some candle in the Qs. What's a test? A test is testing a place. Can they break through or do they get rejected from that place? So a successful test for the bears is a rejection. A successful test for the bulls is a test and a bust through. Notice how first time, best time, right? Like the first time they hit it, not back here a few minutes ago, but over here, the first time they hit it, they had a nice little pullback from there. That, for number one, tells you that place is important. Number two, if they start closing candles above, it's going to signal more bullish than just a test and a pullback. We'll see. So I know I have traders in here that shorted that. They shorted earlier and they added up there, or they just shorted up there. I'm 100% confident of that. Yeah, there they come. And there they come. And that was what we were talking about. It's just not that abnormal. It's not out of the ordinary. This is what they do. This was the morning trade. Now, I know some of you may not have shorted up there because you were afraid they were going to break out, but that's why I started talking about a test. Yeah, nice job, folks. Well done, Grant. Now you protect, right? So if you're short and you're in the money and you have a trailer on, you just don't let it go bad on you. Nice job, Michael. Mika, good job. Almost. It's okay. It's a process. Nice job, Terry. Lee. Good job, folks. They don't have to be done. They could go back up. We don't know. We just know the numbers. We know the process. We're looking for the morning trade. This was it. IWM still strong. Yep, look at that. I have the numbers. I have the numbers. Hold on. I have it on another chart. I'm going to translate it. I know where they're going. Watch this. That's the first one. Watch the IWM. Nice trade in the spiders, folks. Look at this one. What's the low? 428.87. 428.88. Funny how that works. Right back to the other number. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. Nice job, Brian. Brian O. I mean, look at that. I mean, if you don't know the numbers, how the hell do you have an entry and exit? I've always said that. I mean, I don't know how you do it without the numbers. Yeah, pretty much, Shannon. Guess and hope. In that order. Look at that. It's a little whippy right now. This is what we call the morning rush because we have participation. The market moves. If we have the proper numbers, the proper setup, the proper concept, then we can make hay for the morning trade. It's like a store. You don't have to be there all day. You get what you need, you get in, you get out. Whether they give us the next trade or not, doesn't matter right now. Those that are still in a trailer, that's fine. You just don't let it go bad on you. You take what the market gives you. Yeah, that was that 10 o'clock jolt. Whatever the piece of data was, doesn't matter. Look at the IWM. Talk about relentless. I'm telling you, that's where they're going. I think I put this on the board in a video last night. That's part of it. KRE's up a little bit, so that's part of it for sure. But that's not all of it. That's not all of it. The IWM's on a breakout, so it's got somewhere to be. That energy, remember I talked about it in the video, if you watch the videos, I talked about that energy is going to be released. It's being released. That's what we talked about multiple times. That's what's going on in the IWM. Whatever's in there, it doesn't make any difference. That's what's going on. Look at this. The spiders. I did, Brian. I mean, you can't help the market whipping around. The concept was they're going to go up and they're not going to be able to break out. That was the concept. How they get there and the path they take and how much they give you, agita, all that stuff. I can't help that. I give you the concept. I give you the schematic. They whip it around. Look at this. And those that are still holding a trailer, nice drop. I'll be right back. How you doing? Bounce off the pivot. So any trader that was still short, you had to have exited at the pivot. Talked about 428.50. Okay, that's number one. Number two, did anybody buy the pivot? Because I know we did. I know we had some. Okay, Jerome. I mean, this is the type of morning volatility you need to be a trader. Can't trade a creeping market. It doesn't work. Got to know your numbers ahead of time. Some of you, that was a Whopper Junior. Yeah, Thomas, job. Lee, 14 points today. That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, Gerardo, over 2K. Will wants to look at Tesla. I think I ignored you before, Will. Not on purpose. Or somebody brought up Tesla. Hey, look at that. This is no good anymore. Yeah. They're working on this area here. This is a big time area because this is where the market started breaking down, ate some time off the clock for a few weeks, then broke down again. They're coming back to test this spot. First, they tested the lower portion over here. Now they're testing the upper portion here. A breakout above this high, which is 437.40, brings you up, toward this breakdown candle high. But getting through here is not going to be easy. Look at this run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. How you doing? 7 weeks. How you doing? Next week is options expiration week. Weird stuff happens. Do they push it to 250? I don't know. Tough call. Tough call. CPI. That's right. We have the Fed next week. Thanks, Shannon. Yep. Look at this. Tesla's on a tear. Tesla's on a tear. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Let me just mention something of interest, just for psychological purposes, that kind of thing. How do I put this? Let's put it this way. This will sum it up. The best trades are generally found when it feels the worst, because it looks like they're actually doing the thing that you're afraid they're going to do, like a breakout. But in a sense, they were just running a test. And I said early this morning, one of the first things I said in the notes was, it's easier for them to gap above these type of places on some kind of news event, excuse, economic data, whatever. Doesn't matter what the reason or the excuse is. It's just easier for them to gap above it. I don't care what the reason is. So that being the case, the flip side of that is it's harder to grind through them. So first thing in the morning, unless it's a fake out, obviously, but first thing in the morning, okay, without having developed some kind of an intraday thing where they, run sideways and eat time off the clock under it for hours, that's different. But first thing in the morning, my take was, if they're going to get above, why not just gap above it? Are they really going to grind above it at 9:45 in the morning? And so I used that in my head, right? That was a concept. That's not a trade. That's just a concept of what I know to be the case the large majority of the time from just watching the tape for years. And so I used that and that zone up there and the former high, which was important for a couple of reasons. We know A, it was a former high, and B, it was the 618 retracement. And I said, well, it's unlikely they're just going to blow through it if they're not gapping above it this early in the morning. And that was the trade. Honestly, that was the trade. So let me see, we had some other stuff rolling in here. I know somebody wanted to look at GameStop. Let me do that real quick. It was on my mind and I forgot. Well, they hit something, but let's find out what it was. Well, yeah, they're up in this area. They could stop anywhere in this area. There's no telling a rhyme or reason of a specific number up here in this area of the breakdown candle high. But that's what's stalling the market out here, the GameStop. That's it. But it's a nice run. Look at that run. Pretty incredible. $18 to $26. IWM will get there. Let's see. I'm reading some stuff, so bear with me. I got to scroll around. There was a lot of stuff that rolled in and I didn't read it yet. All right, a lot of you got a lot of points on that short. I just read them now. Nice job, all of you. Grant, Jeff, Trevor. Yeah. CPI, PPI, Fed. Yeah, Grant, we got a whole host of stuff going on next week. That should make for plus options expiration, plus quadruple witching options expiration, right? It's the end of June. It's the end of the second quarter. So you got all that stuff going on. The contract is rolling, I think tomorrow, the futures contract, excuse me, which doesn't have to happen tomorrow, but around the contract roll, today, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, around the contract roll within days, okay, is when my concept is weird stuff happens. Now, weird stuff could happen during the Fed week. Weird stuff can happen during CPI, PPI. Weird stuff happens during options expiration, regular way anyway. Okay, so guess what? Expect volatility next week. That's my take. So there's your example of first time, best time. The first time they hit the pivot, they had a really nice bounce. Okay, 5-6 points. The next time they hit the pivot, they busted through. Now, whether they rip it back up or not from here or slightly lower, I'm not sure. 428 is going to be the first place. 427.40 is my number. I'll put 428 on the board because it is something, give or take. Now, there's your bounce again. They fight the pivot now. You also have a breakup candle low, which opens the door to a gap. And there's your 428. Bounce again. 428 to 427.40 if they got there. That's the next zone. Okay? For a bounce back. They do it. I wasn't in the camp of spike the low and rip it back. It needed it to be lower. But good volatility this morning for trading, right? You see this versus what happens later on as the volume dries up and the participation dries up and you get closer to lunchtime and the market starts to slow down and it floats around. It's not the same environment for trading. And this is why I call it a morning business, because it's not the same. You're adding a different variable than you have for the morning trade where the bread is buttered. You don't need to add additional variables. We talk about this every day. There's so many variables that I don't want in the trade. I don't want a creeping market as one of my variables. That's me. Doesn't mean numbers won't work and it doesn't mean price won't move, but creeping markets are different than full participation markets, or at least good enough participation markets. These are all the little nuances. Put that stuff on a sticky note. This is all, Paul, Paul says the hype of the new model and redesign of M3, which is money supply coming in the next week or two. Well, that's all in preparation for that Fed digital currency business. I forgot what they call it. That's all in preparation for that. That's coming. You're going to see the dollar disappear pretty soon. I don't know how soon. It's not going to be a hot cut overnight, I don't think, but it could be. You never know. It's all part of that whole thing. Don't know about it, Thomas. Don't know. It doesn't really affect what I do on the charts or the numbers. The annual realignment. No, it doesn't float my boat, but I guess it's good to know. Can't hurt knowing it, but I don't know what you could do with that information. Any thoughts on Microsoft? It's getting killed. Now, it's all relative. Down a little less than 2%. Looks like it's getting killed. It's at a good spot here, 327. Better spots down here, 323. Not sure. Let me get some numbers on Microsoft. Just bear with me. I got to go to my other screens. There's your zone in Microsoft. It's wrong below here. It's wrong below 320. Then it opens the door to the gap. Not all at once, but that's it. That's the zone in Microsoft. Yeah, that's around your 428 mark. 428.04 is the number you're looking for. I just have 428. I'm rounding it. It's always a give or take by a few cents. But you're right. That's the next target. Correct. Is it really? Look at that. Oh no. Somebody said the VIX is at 1284, but it's not. Nick, it's not. It's at 14 bucks. Unless I was using the wrong symbol. No. It's at 14 bucks.
Yeah, I have the VIX at $14 too.
Yeah. Okay.
I always know where the VIX is.
There's other vehicles that are different VIX vehicles. You may be looking at one of those. It's possible. 428 to 427.40 is a bounce back in the other direction place. Blow through the gap, come up short of the gap. Both those things can happen. But this is the next thing. IWM must have stalled out. Yep. They'll get there sooner or later. Look at that trade. Remember, opening print was here. So this doesn't count. That was the trade. Nice. There's your gap fill. 428 to 427.40 is the zone. Scalp with potential. Shorten it up a little bit. So you see, it's not that wide. Okay, Mark, June 12th is a roll. I thought it was tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, you might be right. I'm not sure. I didn't know that for a fact. I just thought it was. I remember reading that somewhere the other day, talking about the contract roll. Nice trade, folks. You know, scalp with potential. What they give you so far? 4 points. Yeah, you're looking for the pivot. Can't guarantee they'll get there, but you're looking for the pivot unless you took profit already, which is fine. Nick, I'm not sure what you're asking. When do I expect to start what? Trading the new contract? Not for, it doesn't matter really for now. There'll be volume in both contracts for a little while. It's not a big deal if that's what you're asking. Oh, next week's volatility. When do you expect it to start? Well, I don't expect it to start. I expect next week to have volatility. I can't tell you what's going to happen Monday in particular. Next week we'll have plenty of volatility. Just leave it at that. We'll see it when we see it. I don't know if it starts Monday. I'm not sure what chart you're looking at, Ilya. It's not doing much. It's actually eating time off the clock in this upper range, even though I put in a tail candle. This is bearish and this is bullish until it falls below here. So it's a tough trade. Either way, you can't buy it and you can't sell it now. Nick, I'm not sure. Okay, I think we're settled on that stuff. Okay, never mind. I'm still catching up on some of the comments here. Let's take a look at the trannies. Yep, trannies are strong. IWM's still strong. Spider gave you the trade. Nice trade for the long traders. Nice trade short, double barrel, ride them back up. Nice start. Well done, folks. 1 hour chart. No, doesn't tell me anything. It's just a test of the high. That's all I know. That's all I need to know. It's not a tail. It's just a blip. Think of it like this. The longer the tail, the more you notice it. The short little stuff, you don't even notice it. Okay, Dieter? Yeah, I looked at the 1 hour. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Nick. Okay. I got you with the VIX. Okay, I just got to that comment. All right. Maybe. Not a bad thought process. Nice job, John W. Okay, excellent. Okay, so this is a nice trade, right? Who got them both? Sean's asking, since the VIX is broken lately, if you got to your target, would you look to short the market instead of going long the VIX? Most likely. Well, yes and no, Sean. I think the better trade is on the actual thing itself rather than a derivative of a derivative, like I've been saying. But that doesn't mean when the VIX gets to that number that the market will be at a specific number and time and price and all that. We don't know, but maybe. And let's say it was. Well, you know, I have other numbers up there. If it was at one of those other numbers that's not close by here, and the VIX dropped all the way down to 1285, 1284 lower, that may be something. We may have something cooking. Nice job, Kyler. Lee had a double day. We got a lot of traders that got them both. That's 14 points each, Jeff. That's 28, but my math. Great job. That's unbelievable. It's not unbelievable, but it's great. Most people would think it's unbelievable. It's not unbelievable. The double with cheese today, Sean. Nice job. Jeff B. Oh, 14-point total. So, Phil, still, it's an hour's of work, an hour's worth of work. 14 points. It's fantastic. Well, but Paul, you needed to exit at certain places, right? You only had listen, if you did it properly, you only had a trailer on the short at the pivot, okay? And holding below the pivot was really a tough call. The buy down at 428, it was a buy. I mean, that was the beginning of the zone. We talked about it long before it got there. So that had to be an exit on the short if you were still short, because I'm buying it. Just saying. It's just, that's at face value. That's exactly what happened. But it's a process. You take what happened and you learn from it and say, look, I didn't get in long because I was focused on whatever. Okay. Now you take the information, you look at what happened, you take what we talked about. 427.40 is the next place. You take what we talked about and you say, all right, what did I do? What do I need to do different next time? What do I need to pay attention to? And you learn. It's a process. Okay. Okay, that's fine, Paul. I got it. Good. You're fine. 427, give or take, up to 427.40 is the next zone. Yeah, spike it, that's fine. But this is the next zone. So now that the market, look, nobody's long now. This is over. Your trailer is stopped out. And if it wasn't, this is what should have happened, right? We all know this works. And you should know how it works, or you shouldn't be in a trade until you know how it works. But now we're looking for the next thing. The next thing is come down to here, which is the next number, and we create a zone down to 427, give or take. And that's the next zone for a bounce back. It's just a play it again, Sam. Okay? Yes, Will. It's mechanical, it's a process. If they get to a number, we may be interested. This is the next number we're interested in. If they're floating around, we're not interested. This is volatility. This is a trader's tape. Look at that. Another candidate? No. No. All right. Just be patient. They give it to us. They give it to us. If they don't, you wait for the next thing. Yeah, Will, we don't do that because we don't know it's going to get to 427.40. But what we do know is that's an important place. So it's magnetic. It can draw price in. And if it gets there, because of its importance, I'm expecting the market to find support. But I'm not 100% sure it's going to get there. And I'm not 100% sure of anything, but I'm more sure that it's going to be support when it gets there than I am that it will get there. That's the difference between shorting it to get there and see this bounce. This would have frustrated you if you tried to do that. That's why we don't short the numbers to get to the number, but we know that we can get action at the number. Okay? It's important to know that. I'm glad you asked. But we talk about that from time to time, so it's worth the conversation. It's all part of the stuff. Jeff C. up 1975 points. We'll say it's 20 points. Where's that extra tick? 20 points. That's a great job, Jeff C. See, you never know what she's going to give you when you show up in the morning. You have no idea. Holding which position, Shannon? I don't know when you walked away. I don't know what, I don't know what you have. Oh, well, you need to be out, at least most. 427.40 is an area of support. That's what we're talking about. That's the next thing for a bounce if they get there. So you got a whopper. Well, it worked in your favor this time. Could have worked the other way. No, they all moved together. Well, for the most part. Well, what's the IWM doing? Yeah, it's coming down, but not as much. Yep. It's the same. It just, maybe more in percentage terms, but it's the same. Right. Alan's correct, by the way. Alan B. Mistakes do not usually work in your favor, but sometimes they do. And when they do, you say, thank you very much, and you move on. But with the full and complete understanding that most of the time, the mistake is going to work against you. And that's why when I make a mistake on an order, I reverse it immediately. I either close it or reverse it immediately. I just don't even screw around. And I take that, if I have to take a few tick loss or a point or two loss or whatever it is, I take that as that was my fault and that's my punishment. Is this the reversal day? Don't know. There's other numbers. I mean, it could be a good day. We'll see. Here they come. There it is. Okay, showtime zone again. Top of the zone is top of the zone, bottom of the zone is bottom of the zone. They could do either one or both or middle. It's the same thing always. This is the way I map it out when I have a zone. If I don't have a zone, I'm not giving it to you unless it's just that good. You're looking for 5 to 7 and then you hold it. Same thing, no change. If you want to take it before that, that's trader's choice. It's totally fine. If your heart was pounding, Terry, you're in the wrong place. Your trade was too large because your heart was pounding. That means your position size was too big. Talk about that every day. Don't do that. You don't need that agita. You need to be confident in the process. You need to be confident in the numbers. And you can do that with small position sizes until you can prove to yourself, not me, not anybody else, but yourself, that you can be profitable on a regular basis with small position sizes, and then you can step up the position size and your heart won't be pounding because you'll have a different outlook going into trades. You'll have a different calmness because you'll have an understanding and a confidence in the process. That's the way the whole thing works. I don't want you to have heart pounding. That's not what this place is for. I'm here to teach you the proper way, how this market works, how this business works, how to make trades, where to make trades, why to make trades, how to do it, how to get out with base hits and hold, how to pile up the base hits. This is what we do here every day. Every day is exactly the same, but every day is different than all other days. But it's the same process I use. Exactly the same every day. Okay? What's the target? Well, really, it's 428, but you can take something in front of that if you want. I mean, technically, they should get there. Will they get there? What's the path they'll take? I don't know. I can't say. I could tell you what the normal bounce should be. Back to 428 for a test at some point, but that doesn't mean they won't make you crazy first. All right, well, that's fine, Terry. Maybe it is a positive. It's a positive either. Well, it's a positive if it made you feel good, but it's not a positive if it was a negative heart pounding situation. That's what I was saying. So just so we're on the same page. Nah, I got nothing in TLT right now over here, Craig. Phil, sorry. I'll take that back. I'll take that back. I like a spike to low for a trade. That's it. They come for a back test of 427.40. That's normal garden variety behavior. Still a zone. They could do spike to low. They could come halfway home to the second number, halfway in between. They could do all that stuff and still bounce. They bounce once, traders got a profit. Some probably didn't. It's still the zone. It's still an active zone. That's what I was talking about. Still an active zone. Basically, the bulls need to get back above 427.40. This is short-term stuff. They need to get back above there to bounce the tape again. Qs are melting a little bit. There you go. See if they could do it. Got an on-time situation here, a little bit. Microsoft. There you go. You took that, Kyler? Okay. Funny how that works. See, they tested 427.40 in the spiders. They can't get above yet. They got some unfinished business down here probably. Maybe spike the low and rip it back up one more time. There goes Microsoft. You're looking for 327.50. Yeah, David K. So people ask me all the time, how come you don't chart the ES? Well, I do, but I only really focus on the spiders because it seems more pure to me. There's a lot of variables I don't need with the futures contract, with the roll and other contracts at different numbers, and it's pain in the ass is what it is. So that was a good number in Microsoft. Just protect it if you got it and let it ride. There you go. And there she runs. Okay. That's why I talked about the zone. Okay. That'll do it. I'm going to call that a hat trick. Okay. From down there. If you're a one-trick pony, Mark B, then maybe try the micro contracts because it's very, very hard to be a one entry player. That's my suggestion. Do what you like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't be one contract with an MES. It doesn't work. The whole idea of the MES is to give you an opportunity to have multiple entries. Just so you know, do what you got to do. I understand all that, but just so you know, you're adding a variable, Mark B. You're adding a variable in difficulty. You're adding a level of difficulty to the trade. I get the whole thing, but is it worth it? Maybe just save up some more or whatever. I don't know. I'm just making it up. I'm just saying it's what I'm saying. Okay, fair enough. We're good. That's fine. Experimenting, that's fine. Just so you know the variable you're adding by doing that, and then we're all good. I don't want you to make it harder on yourself, I think is the point. It's already hard enough. Sometimes I make it look easy. I get that, but it's not easy. Some of these trades sometimes are like a bank robbery. We should have a mask on. So how many people got a hat trick today? Curious. Lee, great job. Alan B, hat trick, nice job, great job. Jerome K, Thomas Mem, twofer, that's good enough. Kyler, hat trick, fantastic. Jeff, hat trick, fantastic. That's just, I can't tell you. I mean, you don't ever show up expecting a hat trick in 90 minutes, even though it's nice to think about, even though it happens, you don't expect it. 2 wins is great. Vander, 2 wins is great. Yeah, I think so, Alan. Time to get off the ice. You from Canada? Probably. Or just a hockey fan? Or both? Minnesota, it's close enough. Hockey fan, I got it. Dirk, fantastic, it doesn't matter. And Campbell's, that's a hat trick. Oh, 2 total, Campbell's and Spy from the lower. That's fine, you were busy with the Campbells, that's fine. Blaine, great job. Will, great job. Yes, I do. Shannon, first time, best time. It applies across the board to everything. Remember I said that to get back to 428, well, now they came close, but they're just, the path they take is the one that kind of sometimes gives you agita. Nice job, Will. Great job. The bounce off 427. So you took it all the way down, and that was fantastic. Look at that bounce. Love it. 7, 8, 9 points, whatever you got out of it. You're welcome, Shannon. Well, SJM had that pop yesterday. I didn't put it on the board yet, but that first exit was hit. I just forgot to update it. Kyler, you only have to do it one time, though. The rest is your reward. Anything above that is confirmation that you made the right choice. Anything below that and it didn't work, right? We're talking about the annual fee. So, yeah, if you bought the annual plan, it's not cheap, but it's worth it. And what we're talking about is if you come out, you know, what my point is who I'm talking to already paid for it twice at least. And the point is that I actually paid for it today for another time, however many times, it doesn't matter. And the point is that if you buy an annual plan and you can't make money in excess of what it costs, then it didn't work. But everything over what you paid, the choice was right. Yes, there is, Armand. I give you two months on the house with that one, so I give you a discount. It's basically a 10% discount, 8.3%. That's just how it works out. I just think it's fair. Do me a favor, Armand, email me on that and I'll work it out with you. I do it. I have to do a part of it manually. Yes, Will, to email me if you're off the trial and I'll turn it on. Okay, email me please and I'll do it later. I wish it was automatic. It's just not. I can't. It doesn't work. There's too many moving parts, different systems. It's kind of a kludge. So the morning rush, for the most part, is over. And by the way, just a reminder, I have a dentist appointment today, which nobody wants to go to, but I have to go. So I'm going to wrap this up probably in 15 or 20 minutes, tops. Doesn't matter. We got trifecta today. Hat trick, doesn't matter. It's actually better off that way. It's a blessing in disguise. That's a fair statement, David K. Slower the market is, the harder it is to break through places and moving averages and other places too. I think that's a fair statement. Let's see. Mark, let me read this. Okay, thanks, Mark. I got it. I don't have to repeat all that stuff. That's between you and me. I appreciate it. Of course it is, Will. That's traders need volatility to be in business. Without the volatility, there's no business. Could be a buy and hold business without volatility if it's just grinding somewhere, but that's different business. Now we'll talk around a few things here, but regardless of what the market does, I can't put you in another trade while I'm going to leave. Okay, so even if they spike the low, that's up to you. If they do it, it's a trade. You know, 15, 20 cents, a little bit more. They'll probably snap it back. But that's trader's choice at this point. If you have 3 trades in the books or even 2 trades in the books, you're not looking for another one right now. why risk any of the profit at this stage in the morning? Why bother? That's just from my mind, my thought process. You do what you like, but I'm just saying that's what I would, if I wasn't leaving, I would still have that mindset. Just that's very hard to wrap your head around, but that's one of the ways that we have to think because we want to keep the money in our pocket. How many times have you had a profit in the morning and by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you turn around and say, I can't believe I did that again. You know, we all have done that. This is one way to prevent it. I'm your alter ego, I'm telling you, fold it up. It's the way we keep, look, you got either 2 men on base or 3 men on base by 11 o'clock in the morning, right? 2 base hits, 2 whoppers, 2 whopper juniors, whatever you got, it doesn't matter. You scored runs or you got men on base, either way, you probably scored some runs. What are you gonna mess around with it for? Because if I said to you at 9 o'clock this morning, hey, look, by 11 o'clock, we're gonna have 2 or 3 trades in the books, and one of them's gonna be a whopper junior, okay? You know what you would say? Fantastic, and if that happens, I'll pack it up. So you gotta look at it from a lot of different angles. You almost have to fight the urge, and because I know the urge, I get it. It's called greed, right? You just come back tomorrow. You can't lose what you don't put in the middle. Keep the money in your pocket. You know, we had some traders here that made a few grand today, whatever it is. Why risk it? How many traders really do you think there are that walk away after an hour and a half with 2 grand in their pocket? How many are there really, do you think? And a percentage of everybody that trades? It's not that many. Most people don't make that in a week, and most people lose money. Thanks, Michael. You're right. I added the second part. I mean, think about it. I'm not suggesting, nor do I condone setting daily goals for money, and we've talked about that before. It promotes bad behavior, promotes the wrong behavior. But, you know, extrapolate out. You're not going to make 2 grand every day, but extrapolate it out. Just say, well, I'm going to take a loss. I might lose 2 grand one day, 1,500. I might lose 1,000. I might make 2 grand a couple of days and make 1,000 or 750 another day. At the end of the week, all of a sudden, I might be up 3 to 5 grand. By the way, it's a living or more. That's a living. You add some swing trades onto that. No, a few grand is not coming from really tremendous trades at all, Nick. In futures, okay, let's do it this way, and this will be one of the last things I really discuss because I'm going to just have to start wrapping it up. In futures, hold on, let me just update the notes and I'll come right back to this. All right, first let me read this out, or let me get this out. If they spike the low, they'll do it by 10 or 15, 20 cents and rip it back up. That's a higher risk situation. There's another number down here. It's already on the board. 426.25 to 425.50. That's the next zone. If you want to trade that, that's up to you while I'm away if they do it. That's the next zone, other than the spike the low and rip it back up routine. For me, it would be 426 to 426 and a quarter to 425.50. Okay, let's get to the other thing. What were we talking about? Futures. So the MES, you know, it's very hard to make a couple of grand in MES in one day. You have to have really big trades, or you have to have a lot of MES contracts because they're small. But ES, on the other hand, if you have 2 ES contracts, okay, each point is $100. So 10 points is $1,000. So you start to see where it doesn't really have to be that. You don't have to have a tremendous margin account to do 2 ES contracts. You know, there are different brokers. You have to look around. TradeStation has a higher margin requirement that I use than some others. So there are futures brokers where you can get started for a lot less money, you know, and they have low margin requirements. So you got to check that out. But, you know, if you start with, like, let's say 2 to 3, and you have an exit on 1, 1, and 1, you know, you could have a $700 trade, a $1,000 trade, a $800 trade, a $1,200 trade, sure. So you start to pile up, you know, a couple of base hits like that, or a couple of trades like that, and there's 2 grand easy. And if you have, you know, if you graduate to the next level of position size using the ES, then what we're talking about is having like maybe 5 or 6 contracts on. at max, right? And then later on, it goes up to, maybe it's 6 to 8 or 9. Any rendition of 3, 3, and 3, 2, 2, and 2, 2, 2, and 3, 2, 3, and 2. There's just any way, 3, 3, and 3, any way you want to slice it. And so there's how the numbers pile up. Who asked that question? Oh, my thing scrolled up. Is that Nick? Yeah. Okay, good. Now it makes sense. That's how. Doesn't have to be huge position size. And traditionally, there's not, we have a couple of traders in here that trade the exchange traded products, whether it be the Spider itself, SPY, or the SPXL, SPXS, or SSO, or SDS. They trade those and they're buying with a larger account. They're buying a lot of shares. That's their choice. That's fine. That's their choice. It's the same thing. It's just the choice of how they want to allocate their capital. You got a lot more leverage with the futures contracts, but it's trader's choice. You do whatever you like. That goes back to comfort. You do what you're comfortable doing. You could also have those kind of numbers certainly without a big options account, right? 10, 15, 20 contracts of a Friday expiration on a trade like this today twice. That's going to give you a couple of grand easy. And that's not an outlay of a lot of capital. That was outlay of maybe a couple of grand, 3 grand tops. But I don't like the options because you're fighting the variable you don't need, which is the time decay. Because if you're wrong and you're wrong for half a day, now you're screwed. What is the mini ES again? MES. It's a micro contract or yeah, I think so. Micro contract. MES. MES M23, 2023. That's the current contract. We're going to roll to the U contract, which is September next week, not this week. Whether the contract technically rolls or not this week, I don't know if it will or it won't. I forgot now. Now somebody who brought it up before put a doubt in my mind. Doesn't matter. We're going to trade. If you're trading, you can trade the ES through this week at least, even next week. They'll have volume in both contracts. Makes no difference. Brent, I was talking about the futures, micro futures contracts. It's the 1/10 of the ES is the micros, MES. That's what we were discussing. No, now you're talking about options contracts, Nick. That's not futures. You probably don't have quotes for futures if you're not familiar with them. It's a different account. You have to have a futures account. You can't do it in the account you have. And if you've never opened a futures account, you have to open a futures account. It's not options. You just play around with the MES. You learn about it first. Ask me more questions. If you open an account, you ask me questions. You don't do anything. Yeah, oh, what does it say, Mark? I can't click that link in where I am. What does it say? Well, maybe I can cut and paste it. June 12th. Okay, thank you. Next week. Okay, I don't know where I got tomorrow from. That's wrong. Forget I said that. Thank you. Yeah, 427.40. They're still testing it, right? I mean, just to talk about the spiders for a second, what they're doing. It's an important place. I'm going to wrap up the notes here real quick. I'll be right back, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Don't do stupid stuff. Okay, I'm going to shut it down because I'm not going to be back for a couple hours, or at least an hour and a half. So I'm going to shut this down. I'll update the notes one more time when I get back, see what happens. But this was it. This was either a 2 or 3 trade day. They were relatively pain-free for the most part. So it was a good day. Leave it at that. We don't make it any more complicated than that. We don't cheer it on, rah, rah, pound the table, scream, kick and scream. We don't sell the sizzle. We deliver the steak. That's what we do here. Double barrel. Yep. Gerardo, 4.1K. See, there's a number for you. So this goes to the conversation from before. Thank you. That's a fantastic day. You're welcome. All right, folks, I'm just going to call it a day. There's nothing. Look, just leave it at, it was a great day. It's a morning business. And it was a good morning. We'll leave it at that. So I'll be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. I appreciate everybody. Yep, we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the afternoon. Don't do stupid stuff. And if you want to check the notes, if you're not on a trial and you don't have the notes, email me. But either way, you check the notes. I'll make an update, around 1 o'clock or so, give or take, something like that. That's what to expect. All right. Enjoy it. Enjoy the afternoon. Back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Thanks, folks. Appreciate everybody very much.